You were raised by a stepdad. Your relationship with him wasn't that great from what you told me over the years. Did he pass or is he still alive?
My stepdad?
Yeah.
I have no idea. No, I think he's still alive.
He's
Yeah,
still alive.
I would have heard if he would have died because he's my sister and my brother's real father, so I would have known if he would have died. He's still alive.
It's crazy. Today I found out that my stepdad died. He was like my own official stepdad. It fucking killed me for a minute because let me tell you something. I hadn't talked to him in a few days. So this morning I got up at 5 and I wrote for 2 hours. And then at about 6, 7:30 I started calling my friends on the East Coast. And I called him at 8 o'clock. He didn't answer. This motherfucker always answers. He always answers, even if he's sleeping. So I hung up and I said, I'll wait 10 minutes and he'll call back. He's one of those people. Now he always calls you back. He didn't call back. So when my wife left to go to church with the baby, I had to go to the weed store and I had to go to CVS to pick up my Percocets and all that shit. And when I got back in the car, I left the phone in at the weed store. And I was in there talking to the girl. And I saw and you know who else I called after him? I called my best friend that's a funeral director. Because he's a freeholder. This is how, you know how you and I talk sometimes? And you're like, Joey, I was just telling somebody about you and you called.
Yeah, synchronicity.
So it was the same thing. I called, and if you look at my phone, I called Carmine first. Then I called the gear, Ranieri. And I talked to him. He was sleeping. It was 11 o'clock. And I go, what the fuck are you doing to sleep? He goes, I got up early, ran some errands, and I'm taking a nap now till some baseball game or some shit. And I said, all right, man, just checking in with you. Love you. And I hung up the phone. And when I got out of the weed store, he called, and Pete Balzano called. And I knew it. I knew it already. Like, I didn't need a genius. I called Anthony first, and he told me, you hear it? Carmine died. Then I called Pete, and he told me Carmine died. They talked to him. They called him, and he said he was in the bathroom to give him 5 minutes. They didn't answer the door. So he had a heart attack on the way in. Now, I got to tell you, at first...
How old was he?
He was 78. He was done. He was done. You know, he was starting to lose his mind. He was going to bed at 6 o'clock and calling me at 1 in the fucking morning. You know, he would get up at 12 and start dialing. And he would wake me up at 3 like it was nobody. Cocarini, what are you doing? What are you watching? What's on TV? And I didn't want to hurt his feelings and tell him I was sleeping. So I would talk to him for a little while. And I'd hang up the phone and he'd call me back 10 minutes later to ask me my zip code. Then he would hang up and he'd call me again. So he was starting to lose it. But he would always tell me, you know, he'd always tell me on the phone I was his adopted son. And today when I got Frankie on the phone, Frankie goes, when he passed, I went over there, Coco, and I don't want to make you feel bad. I wanted his wallet. And he had a picture of me from the longest yard. This dude was my dog. You know, it's hard to, and I've never told these stories because I was always ashamed of this, but it's hard to, you know, Joe Rogan put me on the map. I did a few movies, but Joe put me on the map. Carmine and Life put me on the map. Because when I moved to Jersey, I was so insecure I wouldn't go out. So when I stuck up for his son, he liked that, and I started going to his house. Because there was weapons in my house and drugs and cash, I wasn't allowed to invite kids over my house when I was a kid. Like, you'd come to my house, you had to wait on the porch. Unless you were Spanish and you know about Santeria and stuff, then I would let you in. But if not, I had to explain it, and I'm not in the mood to fucking explain it. You know what I'm saying? We're going on a fucking date. I got to break to you while there's a dead chicken in my living room. I'm not in the fucking mood. So, but when I went to his house the first time, like I went, ate dinner with them, and then the second time I went back, they're like, you hungry? Yeah. Go in the refrigerator and make yourself a sandwich. Like, I had all access to that fucking house as a kid, you know? That's not where it goes. I'm a Spanish dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a Spanish dude. So he had already thrown a beating on a guy for his son, and I was there. And then he ended up throwing a beating on another guy because of me and his son. So now the word got out that I was with Carmine. So nobody would bother me, dog. And even all those years when I was causing a lot of problems, Carmine was furious at me. But they would call him first before they wanted to talk to me. So there's this one story that there was this drug dealer named Mundi, and his partner had a gas station. His name was George Amico. And his brother had a gas station, Cuban dudes. And they would bring fruit up. But before they put the fruit in, they would put coke on the truck. And they had this very successful cocaine operation. So one day, George Amico, I could never approach him directly. I robbed his gas station one time when I was a sophomore without a gun. He didn't know it was me and my buddy. So we never really fucked with George Amico, but he was mutual friends with a friend of mine. And one day my friend said to me, Georgie said that if you want to fuck with him, you got to talk to this guy named Mundi. This Cuban dude named Mundi. So I started dealing with Mundi. And one day I ended up beating him for like an ounce. Well, Mundi went nuts. So George Amico went and talked to my friend's dad. And my friend's dad said, listen, I can't help you. Talk to fucking Carmine. So I got a call from Carmine one day. And he goes, hey, man, listen, I don't know what you're in. I'm not accusing you of anything, but some drug dealers came talking to me today. You owe them some type of money. What do you want me to do here? I'm like, what do you mean, what do you want me to do here? He goes, do you want to pay them? And I go, not really. And he goes, what do you want me to do? I go up there and just talk to him. You know, just tell him that. And he went up there and talked to him. The people never came looking for me. But he always took care of me all those years, from way before my mother died till, you know, we did the documentary. So it just, I could sit here and cry and be a fucking phony fuck. I already cried. I got out of the way. I can't go to the funeral, but I love the guy. It's so crazy, the gift I got growing up, that my parents were taken away, but God taught me the gift of friendship. Like, it's a weird gift to describe to people. It's a very, very weird gift to describe to people.